A very good evening from Stranraer in Scotland. I was going to make a video of the town tomorrow morning, but I've just arrived. It's about 8 o'clock. The night is still young and I'm very hungry. So I figured what I would do is head into town, get some food, have a quicker look around to see what's there, and then head back to my B&B, which is just opposite here, and check in. I'll show you around the room, and then tomorrow morning the video will continue. We'll go and have a look around Stranraer together. Stranraer has a population of around 20,000 people, and it looks like most of them are here at the fun fair tonight. Okay, dinner is served. We've got a can of Fanta, we've got some chips, we've got a chicken burger and a donut. £9 at the fun fair. Tomorrow I'll be going into a little bit more detail on Stranraer's history. I was reading some signs, fascinating stuff. I think you will be interested too. But for now, I am going to check into my guest house, which is just here on the left side, Neptune's Rest Guest House. So let's go and see if we can get checked in. Let me give you a quick tour. There is the bed, desk over there in the corner. We've got a kettle with lots of hot drinks, teas and coffees and all of that. A little guide and a TV remote, comfortable chair. We've got a television going on at the top there. Down here is my luggage and all my bits and pieces. I am not travelling light on this trip. Chest of drawers down there. Modern shower room. There we go, take a look at that. It is all good as far as I'm concerned. Looks like a really nice room. I booked in advance on bookings.com and it comes with Wi-Fi, although I'm having trouble getting on at the moment. Breakfast is included in the morning. Roadside parking outside is free. All of that, £45 sterling. I thought that was a pretty good deal. For now though, I am going to get myself a good night's sleep in that comfortable bed, and I'll be back in the morning with a proper look around Stranraer, Scotland. Good night. And I'm back. It is the next morning. I've just checked out of the guest house, had a cooked breakfast before I did so. It has filled me up for the day, and I'm now down on the shore of Loch Ryan. I'm going to be having a look around Stranraer, but I thought what better place to start than to start on the edge of the loch. There is a park area over on my right hand side with a miniature railway, as well as a boating lake that is apparently very popular in the summer months with pedalos and children playing. There's also some nice gardens, and over behind me there you can see where I filmed the end of the last video last night overlooking the lights of Stranraer. So as said, I'm going to take a walk along the waterfront and head towards the main part of the town. I was telling you about that boating lake a few seconds ago, and I'm on the island now in the middle of the lake itself. It's a little pirate ship there. We've got some sand going on. It's like a playground area, I guess, for the kids. But I'm going to head across this bridge now towards the main part of the town. In the distance there you can see Loch Ryan once more, and I'm still fascinated, as I was in the previous video, that way out there you can just see it, a very mountainous island called Ailsa Craig, 10 miles off the coastline. Nobody lives there. I'm not even sure if you can visit. It would be pretty cool to go and have a look though. Some kind of drawbridge here so that they can close the island down when they want to. Off go the birds. Right, I think the town is going to be across the miniature railway and in that direction. This is a memorial in the park, just in the corner with an anchor on top. So it has got to be sea related. Let's have a look. Ah yes, so this is the horrific accident, the 31st of January 1953. A boat crossing from here in Stranraer to Northern Ireland was caught in horrific storms and 133 people sadly died. 23 of those lived here in Stranraer, and that is the names of all those who were lost. You might be able to hear the knocking and banging that's going on behind me. The shipbuilders and repairers are hard at work. It's just after 9:30 on a Sunday morning and they are at work already. And I thought I would head up this pier area because the harbour now is just on my left, and the harbour and port area plays a massive and important role in the town's history. And that's because in the 1700s this port area and harbour was built. In the 1800s, the early 1800s, it was expanded and redeveloped. And then in 1861, a railway line was installed coming from Dumfries. And it was actually so popular that 1 year later, in 1862, the railway line was extended so that it came directly here to the port. And that's what really established this town of Stranraer as a major port town for the southwest of Scotland. Things continued extremely well over the next 150 years. It was a very popular and thriving place in terms of the sea industry and the port and the harbour. Over the last few decades, many of the ferries that had established themselves here, including some of the major ones that travel from here out to Northern Ireland, they decided to move their ferry operation further up towards the mouth of Loch Ryan to a place called Rhyn, which is where I ended yesterday's video. Those ships now sail from there, but what that means is that more of the port and harbour area can now be taken up with leisure activities such as people's smaller yachts, fishing boats as part of the fishing industry. Entirely sure what's happened there. Lovely building, but it looks like it may have been gutted by fire quite recently. Heading out towards the market square now. I am hoping to show you St John's Castle, or the remains of it, and then we'll take a walk down the high street. Just ahead of me is a memorial, I believe, to Queen Victoria. We'll just let these cars pass. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Queen Victoria. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, there we go. Erected by the town council in commemoration of Queen Victoria's record reign, 1897. Approaching the castle door now. Unfortunately, it is closed at the moment due to COVID and COVID restrictions. But as you can see here, it is a medieval tower house and a Victorian prison. And if we go around the side here, there are a couple of signs I want to share with you. I want to talk a little bit about the history of the town. This is truly fascinating stuff. I was reading this last night and thought it might come out a bit better this morning. You can see a couple of signs here. Early Stranraer, 600 years ago, Stranraer did not exist. All you would have seen from this point was a stream running into the loch and a few fishermen's cottages. By the early 1600s, the scene had changed completely. There was now a thriving small town with a marketplace, a church, a mill and leather tanneries. Stranraer grew quickly and soon became the most important settlement in Wigtownshire. And just check out this illustration. This is, as I said, fascinating stuff. So this is where I'm standing right here. Would have been inside the castle complex, and there is the tower that is next to me. For confirmation, it is definitely next to me. And you can see a river running by here, and there's the main high street, I guess you could call it, with a thriving market in the middle there. I think that's the toll booth. There's a church. Over here is probably fruit and vegetables being grown, a beach, and a little boating port there on the side of the river as it opens up into Loch Ryan. Fascinating stuff. That was, as I said, the early 1600s, but if we go to the next sign, things have changed drastically. By the middle of the 19th century, Stranraer had become a busy market town with a small but important harbour. The town's trade was based on leather tanning, fishing, boat building and linen weaving. And in the 1820s, there was even a cotton mill and a whisky distillery. So check out Victorian Stranraer now. This is much different. I'm standing here. You can just about make out the tower behind me there, but the square is filled with houses. There are houses all across now. It is a much bigger settlement. The shape of the high street is still here though, with a busy marketplace there in the middle. There is no church, strangely enough. The church is now over here, so that got knocked down and rebuilt. There is a harbour and port area, and this is presumably where they used to build the ships and all of that. But it is fascinating to see how things have changed here in Stranraer. And remember, that's where I am now. All these houses here have been knocked down because I can see across there the shape of the high street. And the question, of course, is where is that river? Because there's no longer a river there at all. Well, the answer is that the river now goes underground in a tunnel. So, fascinating stuff. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of history. And there again is the very impressive tower. Strolling down the high street now, and I was just wondering to myself what became of all those old clay and mud buildings with straw roofs that used to line the high street, since replaced by these much more modern brick and concrete structures. I suspect there was probably some kind of fire at some point. Those old buildings did not handle fires very well, sadly. But the shape of the high street remains, that's for sure, even if the buildings are different. You can see the sort of curvature of the road. This is pretty much now where the old market would have been. And as I come round, you can see it curves on up the hill. And somewhere around here, there we go, right above me. I think that must have been the old toll booth. I am out of my car. I have just stopped on the drive out of town. I am on one of the hills that surround Stranraer, and you can see behind me is the town of Stranraer. I have really enjoyed spending a few hours there, but the time has come when I've got to head off to my next destination, and I am going to put that in a separate video. It is going to be Port Patrick, and then heading along the Rhins of Galloway down to Scotland's, or mainland Scotland's, most southerly point, and then I'll be winding my way around towards Newton Stewart. I'm not sure how far I'll get or what I'll see along the way, but I do invite you to join me in the next video, because my road trip around the Southwest Coastal 300 in southwest Scotland continues. I'll see you in Port Patrick.